Sean and Joe, another episode ready to go. They're gonna talk about the good and the trash and anything in between. Cherishing make-believe, get ready for Halloween. It's the horror show. I know you missed those guys. Tune in and find out what's on their list tonight. They butcher and dissect, take apart and mutilate. Listen to your two favorite brainiacs communicate. It's the horror show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. The show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Happy Halloween to everyone. Halloween is now a day gone by. It's 2 days. It's a day ahead for us. 2 days ahead for us. Doing the math here. If you're doing the math. So I hope everyone had a great Halloween. The Ghost Watch live show was amazing. We really appreciate everyone there. And if you were part of the Ghost Watch, you will know that this week we are doing our Trovember episode, which, you know what? Give Trovember 1 week a month. I think that's fair.
I agree.
We just celebrate Trovember. It's like you don't celebrate Thanksgiving every week. It's just one
Christmas
day.
Isn't every week. I mean,
right.
You know, it's festive, but
we're thinking about it. It's in our hearts.
It's a choice. It's a choice to be festive.
The magic is in our hearts all of November, but it's only going to be celebrated for 1 week. And this is that week, and we are finally doing the Toxic Avenger.
Yes, somehow eluded us for every Trovember we've ever done, but we're finally doing it.
Somehow managed to do like 8 Trovembers, which is
honestly
four movies a month, and somehow never hit the Toxic Avenger.
Didn't do the one that literally everybody knows, the one most people care about.
That's good. So that's great. Trovember, a little under the radar, which will push me over to the contest we just finished running for our friends over at Warner Brothers. We've got 3 unique codes for Poltergeist and the Lost Boys bundle on digital 4K Ultra HD. 80s classics The Lost Boys and Poltergeist revolutionized the horror movie genre with original storytelling and unmatched cinematic direction. Relive the fascination and fear. Own Poltergeist and The Lost Boys now on 4K Ultra HD. Head on over to warnerbrothers.com/collections/Halloween to pick up a copy, especially if you're not one of our winners tonight. Then you'll definitely need to fucking pick it up. And thanks to Warner Brothers for doing this giveaway for us. We're not super keen on the whole advertising thing, but if you're gonna give our people stuff, hell, fuck yeah, right? Like, give our people what they want. And we got so many fucking entries. I told Joe, like, I started putting together the list this week for us to review, and like I got through it, I thought I got through it, and I was like, oh wow, that's a solid amount of people, and then I realized I had like 3 other pages of emails that I had it's
fucking awesome. I mean, I know it was a lot for you to go through, but I mean, fine. It's a great problem to have, because you were saying to me when we used to do like contests, it was 5 people and like 2 of them family members. So now to have all these people putting it in, it's great.
Oh, yeah. And it was fun. And I'll be honest, man, some of these choices on here are noteworthy. I'm excited to actually go through some of these and check out the ones that I don't know, or like, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck that movie.
A lot of these I want to use like for show ideas, like episode ideas.
Oh yeah, for sure. Bobby Thunderbolt had a couple that I liked. Scarecrows and Mutant 1984. Mm-hmm. Both of those looked amazing. We saw a lot of Hell House LLC, a lot of WNUF, the Halloween specials, which is cool and weird, man. Like, that is, I don't know. It's so weird. One person had the Mothman prophecies.
I like that choice, man.
I do too. I fucking do too. I thought that was like a really good choice. That was, I think it was Chris Ramirez or Virginia Ramirez, or maybe both together.
Both their names were listed. Yeah. That movie, like people give me shit, and by people I mean Paul, but that movie has always unsettled me.
You know what?
I think it's well done.
I was gonna say, so I barely remember it. I must have seen it only in high school or middle school, depending on the year. I can't remember. That I don't remember it at all, but I know like a lot of people, especially like non-horror fans, not that should even like, I don't think that has anything to do with whether it's good or not. You know what I mean? I'd actually argue it probably means it's better, but non-horror fans are like, that movie fucking is scary as fuck. Like people like it. I thought that was a good one. What else did I like? There was a bunch. Tom with the greasy strangler, just to give me a little
give you the rub,
giddy up in my step. Yeah. American Gothic was a good one by Deja. I really like that one. House of the Devil was one I always had on my lists. I think that is kind of, but now Ty West is like becoming fucking huge. So I don't know. Sorry, I'm just looking at these right now. Hack-A-Lantern I've never seen, but I need to. That's Chantel. Satan's Little Helper was put on there a bunch of times. Murder Party, a movie we did, ended up coming on the like 3 people submitted that.
Yeah, but I mean, I would argue it's underrated.
Oh yeah, for sure. That one is definitely underrated. Is Ernest Scared Stupid underrated or properly rated? Should we as a country forget about Ernest Scared Stupid?
I mean, I would honestly, no disrespect to who chose it. I would say it's overrated, but
I fucking love that movie though. But it's one of those ones that's rated based on, I think, like a little bit of nostalgia there.
So honestly speaking, I don't know why I didn't push for it this year. I want to do that for the show because I had so many phases of Ernest Scared Stupid because as a kid, I, like everyone else in the world, loved it. And then I watched it as like a young adult, like in my 20s. And I was like, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. And then I gave it another go. And I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And then I, like with Tina, made me watch it for like a 4th time, and I was like, all right, this isn't too bad. So I don't know where I stand on it.
I mean, because it's really about like, where do you stand on Ernest? And like, Ernest in theory is like the greatest of all time, but then you watch it and he's got that woman with the neck brace who's like, dude, like the voice, and it's just Jim Varney. Like, no, like there's not even a moment where you're like, there's no Eddie Murphy moment where somebody's like, that's Eddie Murphy, and you're like, oh fuck, like that's crazy, like all the prosthetics, like it's always just Jim Varney. Oh my god, I fucking love Ernest.
Ernest kind of goes. Sorry, I know I don't mean to hijack it on an Ernest rant, but Ernest kind of ties in with this week's movie in a sense that Ernest was created as a television commercial. And he's a fucking franchise. Like he's a franchise. He's doing everything. Like you see him on TV, you see him in music videos, and he's making his own movies. That's nuts.
And think about his fucking like outfit that ended up being the iconic outfit. Could you get any luckier to be like, that's your character and you're basically wearing fucking lounge clothes? Like, dude, well, it's like kind of like what we talked about on the Munsters, how like fucking Fred Gwynn hated the costume or whatever. And it's like, cause that sucks, right? And if it's your most famous role, like you're always gonna have to get like propped up in it, and then for Ernest to just be in a fucking t-shirt with a fucking loose-fitting vest and what looks to appear to be the most comfortable hat ever made, like
dude, that fisherman's hat. Yeah, I need that.
Actually, I might buy one.
Not a fisher's hat, you know, not the kind with the circle brim, but it's like one that you just every fisherman on a boat seemed to have in the 90s.
Ernest P. Warhol. So yeah, no, we didn't pick your movie to win. Sorry, guys. All that high praise. No, love you guys, but yeah. Sam Brandt chose The Barn, which is a movie I've wanted to watch for a long time.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, I haven't.
And I was like so glad to see it because like a lot of these, I'm like, fuck, I gotta watch that. Steve from Manthorpe picked the Mortuary Collection, which I fucking love, and I thought that was a really good pick. And there was a bunch of other ones, man. I almost feel like we should put together like a letterbox list of these because there's some like really good shit on here. There's some I've like never heard of, and I just want to know everything about. The Devonsville Terror from 1983. What the fuck is that about? Like, I need to know. But we have our winners here. It was a tight contest. And by the way, guys, just so you know, there were so many entries. So a lot of duplicates, of course, happen. So if I'm sorry if you also chose the movie, but we did it by the person that submitted it first. If they submitted it first as their first pick, that's who we chose for that movie, but we based it on the movie. So sorry in advance to those of you that also picked the same movie, but like all of them had duplicates. So, with that said, let's go. Fuck, I don't even know which one I want to say first because I really am excited. All right, I'm going to talk about this one first. Davis Goolsby, our friend from Chicago, he chose a movie that just stuck out to me, and I didn't even remember it, but I remember the college. When did that come out? Bad Ronald is the movie I'm talking about, everyone.
I think it was 74.
1974. That is insane.
It's a TV movie.
What TV station aired that?
I don't know. That's pretty nuts when you say it.
Was it USA?
It's about a kid that lives in the walls of a house.
Yeah. I remember people talking about this because for some reason I feel like it got like a second leg when we were in college. But why would that have been? Maybe that's just
there
like
was a
college.
band called Bad Ronald.
Well, that's not why that wasn't in college.
Well,
fucking bad. And by the way, yeah, I know there's a band called Bad Ronald. We played their music video on our live show once instead of made everyone sit through that. Reissued on DVD in August 2009. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I just remember people talking about this movie, and I was like, that's so fucking crazy. Bad Ronald, 1974, directed by Buzz Kulick. Interesting fucking name. Okay. He was of Twilight Zone fame. So Bad Ronald, first pick, right? We're going to go, that'll be number three, I will say, the number third pick. The number two pick, with the second overall pick, we're going to go with, okay, so this one we can't read the synopsis on the air because there's a word in it. Dark Night of the Scarecrow.
Okay. Wait, where are you getting this at? Nah, I need to look this up.
So I can't find it. I think it's what showed up on my Google TV, and it used the R word to explain this man's mental.
That's nuts. Who still uses that?
Dude, it was written in the synopsis. It was written in the synopsis, and I was like, get the fuck out. And then I've been trying to Google what site was using that synopsis, and I can't find it. But I think it was when I used that on my TV and I searched it on my TV. Dude, it was
insane.
Dude, it was nuts.
Seen that.
Dude, sing it in 2022. Sing it like anywhere in like the last 15 years. Like, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? And unfortunately, because it's the horror community, so if you Google, like, because I was really trying to find the site that had the synopsis that's used that word, you just find like people's like blogs with you find people's blogs with like their reviews, but they're not like professional, and they're like using that word like several times in their reviews, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, the synopsis on IMDb is: now in a small southern town, 4 vigilantes wrongfully execute a mentally challenged man. But after the court sets them free, mysterious accidents begin to kill them off one by one.
It's a great movie. No, another TV movie too.
I have not seen this. I was so sold on this. I'd never heard of it. I did not know it was a thing. But I love this storyline, man. This is just classic. Dude, the fucking people, what they use to replace the R word in some of these is insane. Like, some people were like, oh, we can't say that. We'll just put simpleton. That would be Rotten Tomatoes, by the way, who used simpleton. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, yeah, man. So you've seen it and you love it.
I give it the stamp of approval. Yeah.
What a great Halloween vibe movie. Look at the fucking cover art. I think it's great. Next one. Now, have you seen, this is number one, our number one choice here. Joe, have you seen this movie?
Race with the Devil?
No. No, The Boogans.
Oh, The Boogans.
The Boogans is my number one based on name alone.
I have not seen The Boogans, but it's one of those movies that I passed countless times in the video store. And of course, my handle's name is Boognish, so anything that has Boog in it, I'm interested in, but I never got around to seeing it.
This is a perfect Halloween vibe movie. For me, like a Halloween vibe, it has to have a little bit of innocence in it too. It can't be like a total fucking like gore fest. I mean, it can be, I guess. I don't know. I guess to me, it's just gotta have like a little bit of innocence to it, man. Like, Halloween's a children's holiday. Like, let's face it. Like, have some fun. You know what? Everyone that picked Ernest Scared Stupid gets the prizes. Just kidding. Nick Bramante choosing The Boogans here from 1981. Great pick. Love it. I'm so excited to see it. I'm going to watch it actually tonight, I think, after we are done recording. Very excited about that. And then we did have a runner-up. What do they call that? Because we only had 3 codes, but we hooked you up with a 4th, baby. We got one more code. They gave us a bunch of extras because they love us so much. Thank you, Warner Brothers. And we're going to give that to Christina Noble with Race with the Devil.
Yes, I love this flick.
What a concept. And good old Peter Fonda. And the artwork on it, there's not a piece of artwork that isn't absolutely fucking ludicrous. Like, just Google it, go through it. It's insane. Peter Fonda, dude, it's got a 6.6 on IMDb.
It's way too low. Way too low.
And
I'm a sucker for movies like this. Like, they had that whole satanic panic scare, and the quick synopsis is Peter Fonda and his buddy are vacationing, and they spy. They pull over to park and rest, and they spy on a satanic ritual happening, and then the rest of the movie is them trying to escape that cult.
Yeah, that's nuts. Cults are cool as fuck.
Well,
I mean, no, wait. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry, guys. I did not.
Cult movies are cool.
I did not mean that at all. FYI, just for the record, I only get like 14 emails being like, "You're not allowed to say that." No, I know. I don't like them at all. They're very bad. But cult movies are fucking cool as fuck. Because, let's face it, cult movies. The cults in cult movies are way cooler than the fucking cults in real life.
Well, yeah.
Like, fucking,
for sure.
Jim Jones is a fucking loser idiot. Look at that fucking guy's face. He's a fucking moron. I wouldn't fucking listen to a word that guy had to fucking say. But when they're wearing hoods and like devil horns and shit and drinking blood, I'm all in. But those cults don't exist, so it doesn't fucking matter. You know? Anyway, congratulations to our winter. Dante Mazzarella, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, Nick should I be saying their government names? Whatever.
Probably not.
Nick Bramante, The Boogans, Dan Wong, he won the whole thing, Christina Noble, Race with the Devil, and Davis Goolsby, Bad Ronald. Thank you all so much. I will get those codes out to you probably before you hear the episode. So enjoy. Enjoy those movies. What are they? The Lost Boys and Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Oh, fuck, you know what? I might watch Poltergeist tonight too. Go all in, baby. Speaking of Poltergeist, we've got a movie.
Well, I like the segue.
We've got a movie.
Makes no sense, and that's right up Troma's alley.
That is honestly probably a joke that is written by Lloyd somewhere in a movie. Just a really bad fucking segue. So Troma's first horror film, if you want to call it that. Would you call it a horror?
Can you call it that?
No.
So that's funny, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because as I was watching this, I was even thinking about how we're doing Trovember, and I'm like, what even is Troma, and why are we doing it on a horror show? Because these aren't horror movies; they're just fucking weird, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
they're not horror movies, most of them, and they mostly they fall into like just being subversive, right? Or sleazy, like.
Sleazy is what it is.
They're not like a horror company, which is weird because even when I was younger, I probably was like, that's what drew me to them, was thinking they were a horror. And they called this a horror movie though.
So Lloyd was working on the set of Rocky, of all movies. And during that time, he wanted to create a horror movie. And somebody was like, horror movies are done. Like, that was a passing phase. They're out. So he decided he wanted to tackle a superhero movie. So that's why he started writing the Toxic Avenger. But he kept a lot of the horror elements that he wanted to go with in it, which... Hey, I just want to jump ahead and say this got turned into a children's franchise with a cartoon and trading cards and bubblegum and action figures. And I personally was more familiar with, the cartoon. Like, I knew the Toxic Avenger, not because of the movie, but I knew it because of the cartoon and all the toys that they sold. We've said it on the show before. We even said it to Lloyd when we interviewed him. Who the fuck greenlit that?
I was going to ask you, I had a question written down. At any point in this movie, any single fucking solitary point in this movie, would you have been like, this would make a great kids cartoon?
Never. Not one.
Not even like for a fraction of a second.
I would argue that I would be more likely to be like, oh, we need to never make sure that kids never see this movie ever. Like, not know that this character exists.
Right. I mean, that's a bigger thing. And I think, I mean, clearly it wasn't a thing back then, but it was like, that was like the one thing that stood out to me rewatching this was like, when you give kids a character, I mean, but the internet's not around, so it's not accessible, right? But it's like, you give kids this idea of something and then they're going to like seek out more of it.
Dude, and this movie wasn't even a hit when it was released. No. It was just like word of mouth afterwards. And then it spawns 3 sequels in a kids franchise. Like, and I know we brought it up before about when we talked to Lloyd, but like one thing that always sticks out to me is that Sean and I were just like, wasn't that shocking to you? And his answer was literally like, nobody was more surprised than me. Like, nobody was more shocked than I was.
It's so crazy to think about that happening and how. And I mean, like I'm super happy for fucking Lloyd that it did happen to him. I like Lloyd like as a human being. But
I would actually argue that this movie is the greatest independent film ever made. And I know that might sound like a crazy claim, but this is as low budget and as independent as you can possibly be. And the effects and what he does with this is absolutely insane.
Yeah. It's nuts. And it's so crazy because it's like got Troma's stamp on it already, right? Like from the jump. How is that? And this is their first fucking like Troma movie, if you will.
Immediately. You're hit with unnecessary slurs, unnecessary stereotypes. The villains are so outrageously over exaggerated that it's actually awesome. Like I was like, usually, and even with Troma, usually I'm like, all right, like this is overkill. But in this case, I was like okay with the villains being so mean-spirited and then Toxie just kicking their ass, because it was so extreme and it was really conveying the point he was trying to make.
Yeah, it was wild. It was fucking wild. The violence. So I told you this earlier in the week. I watched the first 20 minutes and then I had to go to bed, so I had to stop it. I did not remember that beginning. Like, I thought I remembered the beginning because in every single Toxic Avenger movie, they replay the beginning of the Toxic Avenger. For like 10 minutes, you get so in my head, I was like, that's the beginning of the movie. Like, that's how the movie starts. But there's a lot in this movie and it's fucking vicious. It's fucking vicious. And it's like nature of these villains are the worst.
The worst.
Way worse than any of the Cretans in any of the preceding movies.
Dude, the worst. The two main characters, the two main villains that well, it's hard to say because there's somehow there's 5 different subplots, but Lloyd manages to tell it coherently. It's honestly, we get a crime boss, we get drug dealers, and we get the villains that turn Toxie into Toxie, and they start off just like regular 80s bullies, but amped up times 1,000. You know, I've never seen bullying in a movie as extreme as those guys. Just for Melvin just being in the vicinity of them. And then you find out they're also serial killers because they play games at night where they just run over children in their cars, and they give each other points for what kind of children they get and if they kill them or not.
Yeah. Yes.
Dude, Lloyd has a character point a shotgun at a child. And it's not normally most filmmakers, if they're going to do something that extreme, they'll protect the child. So the child's not in this, they shoot it so you're not actually shoving a gun in a kid's face. Yeah. This guy shoved a gun in a kid's face. And I read that guy walked off production. He walked off the set immediately after that. He's like, I'm not continuing with this.
Oh, it's so weird. And I mean, and the thing with Lloyd is when those scenes happen, you're like, this could happen. This for sure could happen right now. Lloyd could blow this kid's head off in this scene.
Yeah, there's nothing sacred and there's nothing.
He kills a dog.
It kills a fucking dog. And not only a dog, it's a seeing eye dog.
And in the most insane fashion, right? Like we've seen movies where dogs die. No one loves it. I know. They get eaten or whatever, and you just hear the yelp. It's off screen. Somebody shoots this fucking dog and you see the bullet go in and the body fly across the room.
Dude, he spent so much time on making sure the effect looked realistic. You're like, dude, what are you doing?
That was unreal. But you could see it coming, right? They were watch the dog, let the dog out or whatever they said. And you're just like, oh, no. They won't. Will they do it? No, they can't do it. But-
yeah, that's what you're saying is what I think makes Toxie work, because he just takes every trope and destroys it. Because usually it'd just be a fake out, right? Or Toxie would come in at that moment. Right. And even though I've seen the movie before, I'm still like, oh, God, Toxie's going to come before this happens. And he does it. And you're just like, fuck, man. Come on. Why?
So Lloyd gets this idea while making Rocky, and he wanted a horror movie that took place at a health club.
Let's not give Lloyd too much credit. He didn't fucking make Rocky. He was on the set of Rocky.
No, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. And he wanted to name the movie Health Club Horror, which makes me wonder, because it's so funny. Lloyd is such a funny dude. I feel like he's successful despite himself. He's almost like the horror show. I've never seen a guy work harder against himself. Toxie almost feels like a little bit of dumb luck. I'm going to be honest with you, because
it does. Lightning in a bottle.
His idea for a horror movie in a health club is a fucking terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. So I'm wondering, the idea of this, was this really honestly supposed to be more of because now Toxie's a character, right? He made a franchise out of nothing. Which, to your point of calling it the best independent movie, is that what you call it, or low budget?
Independent, yeah.
The best independent movie, I think you have a lot of traction there, because has anyone taken a single movie and parlayed it? I mean, I guess you could say Kevin Smith or something like that, but I would say this is better because, I mean, this guy made a studio. He made a fucking franchise out of it and like a world out of it. Fucking Troma is fucking still a place to go for this shit, man. Like,
and he did it in '84. I mean, look at Peter Jackson was clearly influenced by this when he was doing Bad Taste and stuff like.
Sure.
Lloyd he set the bar here.
Yeah. The film's final outcome was less a bona fide horror film and more a campy superhero spoof. Like, could you imagine filming this and then putting it together and being like, oh fuck, like this isn't scary.
Dude, going along to what you're just saying about what he like, how significant he was.
Yeah.
Could you imagine people seeing this in '84? Be like, you can't show this. You can't fucking make people watch this. And somehow he turns it into a franchise. Still
a children's cartoon. A children's cartoon.
Dude, I'm gonna bring that up like 100 times during this episode because the whole time I'm watching this movie in 2022, I'm still like, how can you expect people to watch this? How did you make this a children's cartoon knowing that they're going to eventually want to find the source material, right?
Fuck, dude. And you know what else I fucking forgot about until I was like pulling up some notes on this? We got a fucking new movie coming out, which Peter Dinklage claims is not a reboot. I don't know what that means. Probably not good for us, but Peter Dinklage it finished filming in June. Filming is over. It's rated R, strong violence and gore, language throughout, sexual references, and brief graphic nudity. And Peter Dinklage said it is not a reboot. What the fuck are they going to do with that? Dude, and a cast that is unreal. Like, honestly, it's fucking...
Elijah's in it, right? Elijah Wood?
Dude, Elijah Wood's in it. I'll pull it up real fast. There's a few people. Oh, Kevin Bacon's in it.
Who's directing it? Do we know?
The director is Macon Blair, who did Green Room and Blue Ruin.
Wait, okay. What?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, writer known for his roles? Or wait,
wow.
Was he an actor in those movies? Oh, he was an actor in those movies. Sorry. Oh, dude, and he's part of the Murder Party crew that made Murder Party. And he did I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. What a fucking choice, man. I think it's a good choice, though. Also, for Wikipedia to not have your birthday, like, props to you. So I'm all in on this guy to somehow avoid that. God bless you. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay, who's that kid, Taylor Page, Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, Julia Davis. I don't know this guy. David Yao. Macon Blair is also in it. Jane Levy's in it. And I don't know who this guy is. But yeah, and some of their names have already.
Did you say David Yao?
David,
the guy. Yeah, the guy from the Jesus Lizard. Please,
yes, the same that is him.
Dude, oh my god, I can't wait.
I think this might be awesome.
All right.
Peter Dinklage plays Winston / the Toxic Avenger. Winston. So they changed his name.
Wait, the Dink is the
Toxic Avenger, yeah.
So if they're changing his name, how can you say it's not a reboot?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not a continuation.
Also, it does say the premise. The premise is listed here, and it sounds like it's...
Hold on.
Based on the 1984 cult classic of the same name, set in a fantasy world following Winston, a stereotypical weakling who works as a janitor at Garbeck's Health Club and is diagnosed with a terminal illness that can only be cured by an expensive treatment that his greedy, power-hungry employer refuses to pay for. After deciding to take matters into his own hands and rob his company, Winston falls into a pit of toxic waste and is transformed into a deformed monster that sets out to do good and get back all the people that wronged him.
I know. I was kind of off with the robbery.
Yeah, what is that?
I mean, it sounds like a fucking reboot. Think so.
Yeah. It sounds. Yeah, exactly. What the fuck are you talking about? Fucking idiot. But Kaufman praised Blair and the script.
Of course he did. He's getting bank from it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, dude, that's what he fucking says. Oh my god, and he said, oh my god, this is actually like a sad interview because he's like, hey, I told them that if they needed anything from me, they could call me, but they haven't, and but I am available if they ever need me. But then he goes, I really hope they keep going with this. Yeah, of course you do, dude. Fucking. Anyway, he says there's a lot of satire, a lot of slapstick, a lot of trauma humor in it. So we will see how that goes. But back to the original here. Let's finally get into this fucking movie. This intro to this movie is so wild. It's just all characters at a gym, which I forgot how much of the movie actually took place at the gym. A lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Everyone just hangs out at the gym. It's actually pretty fucking sick.
Even before you get to the gym, you just get a like a panned out shot of New York City and a voiceover talking about New York City being the world capital of culture and industry, and then talking about skyscrapers and then talking about toxic waste. This takes place in New Jersey. Just fun fact. They spent so much time in the beginning talking about New York City and toxic waste. But they do claim Trovember is the toxic waste dumping capital of the world, which always gives me a kick.
I fucking... Dude, he laid out Troma's entire fucking thing in this movie. I know we already said it, but it is just crazy because, like, every gag, every concept that you'll see carried out. Yeah. Every concept that you'll see carried out in the rest of the Troma movies, the toxic waste, the landfills, the fucking everything, the corrupt politicians, it's all there, and it will never leave the Troma universe, dude. He kept making the same shit, and
yeah, rightfully
so. Fucking great. And this intro, it's just like everyone at the gym. And I was explaining this to somebody who's a Gen Zer, if you will. So obviously Troma, not Gen Z's cup of tea, I don't think. And that's fair. That's fine. I understand completely. But I was like trying to explain it to her, and I was like, it's so offensive. It's so offensive. I was like, but it's fun to watch, and I think it's because he offends everyone. He offends me, right? Like he's not picking and choosing who to make fun of here. And can I also say, always a diverse cast for Lloyd.
Always diverse, yeah.
Always fucking diverse. Yeah. I for the time and the genre of movie, dude, I think Lloyd was way ahead of that. Like he had everyone you could fucking imagine in these movies, and it's because he couldn't pay anyone, so he just fucking asked anyone to show up and then took everyone. But like, there's like obviously some offensive shit in this, but like
the most offensive language always comes from. I mean the character.
That's actually true.
The caricatures he does are offensive by today's standards,
for sure.
But they're outrageous. But he says things that you're like that those words aren't needed, but they're coming from the biggest piece of shit characters in the film to make you hate them more.
You know what? That's actually a great point. I didn't even think about that in this, because I think that's actually true for almost every Troma movie. I don't know if there's ever been a good guy that said that shit when they did it. It's always been one of the cretins. Yeah. They're fucking pathetic. But I was just like, man, it's like so offensive. But like, I was like, I'm pretty sure he just offends everyone, and that's how it works. It's almost like South Park's mentality of just like, we're just going to make fun of everyone, and then each side is going to think that we're on their side and love us. But I think that's like a little bit similar here, where Lloyd was just like, I'm just going to fucking spray like fucking shit at everyone. It's fucking wild. And that opening gym scene is like, you just see it there, and you're just like, this is so nuts.
You get everything. I mean, there's even like nobody's safe. Like he even throws in like a slightly overweight person just to be like, look at the fat person.
Dude, it's everyone. It's fucking everyone. It's fucking everyone. White yuppies, fucking old guys. It's so funny. It's fucking amazing.
Cleavage immediately. It just screams trauma. I love it.
I can't believe that Lloyd's married. He's been married for like 50 years, right? It's so nuts.
Yeah.
Also, I will say this. Speaking of this gym scene, is the most surprising part of this movie how many fit people are in it for Troma? Troma's cast has looked a little rough usually. This one, they've got some bods out there. They've got some real fucking bods out there for the Toxic Avenger. I feel like that declines as the years go on with Tromaville. The members of Tromaville turn a little funny looking.
It's a toxic waste exposure, man. It's all part of the universe.
But yeah, no, it's a wild crew. Also, we talk about Melvin here, right? So Melvin is our main character.
Melvin's the most unfortunate looking human.
It's unfucking real. It's unreal. And how they got him to act like that. There's a scene where he does something with his fucking mouth where he's like,
dude, his teeth. Dude, he's honestly like the greatest like body actor of all time because the way that he gets his teeth to stick out.
There's a moment where that girl calls him into the back room and he does this reaction, Joe, that I was like, I would have guessed it was CGI had that been a fucking thing in 1984 because his face is like doing the most contorted shit I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just like, this is unreal. Like, this is so fucking weird. This poor guy, that's his fucking role. It's his claim to fame. And think about doing it. He's probably like doing it as a favor for Lloyd or knows Lloyd. And that was like, it's fine. No one will see this fucking movie. And it turns into like the biggest fucking cult hit of all time. But he is just brutally bullied, Melvin. They hate him. Now, to be fair, let me just say something. I'm not siding with the bad guys here. I just want to say, Melvin puts the fucking mop in the hot tub.
Melvin's a fucking nightmare.
I would have beat his fucking ass. Right there. But that's all you need to do. You just needed to beat his ass at the gym. You didn't need to go overboard. Which, by the way, yeah, that like, never happens. Like, they never resort to like the first stage of like conflict, like just getting into a fight. Right? He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy.
Well, immediately before he even sticks the mop into the hot tub, they're just staring at him and be like, look at that fucking idiot mop boy. Dude, the way that they're talking is the way that you talk when you over-exaggerate on the show, calling people a piece of shit. Dude, that is how he wrote the dialogue. Because they're just looking at him and be like, that fucking piece of shit mop boy, I hate him. It's like he's not doing anything.
Dude, that guy, I forget that character's name. I should pull it up.
His name's fucking Bozo. Fun fact, Vincent D'Onofrio was supposed to be Bozo. He was slated for Bozo, but he asked for more money, and they were like, nah, we'll find somebody else.
Which, by the way, is the right decision for Bozo. Bozo is fucking nuts. And Bozo, 1,000, more than anyone, I know we've said this about a few other movies in the past, where people talk like me with the you piece of shit. This guy, though, is doing it like every scene he's in, he'll like go up to somebody and be like, this fucking stupid idiot, like I'm gonna fucking kill him. And he's always like, this person's making me fucking crazy, man. Like he's making me fucking nuts.
Stressing me out, man.
Stressing me the fuck out, man.
Dude, this guy, the actor who plays this guy, he's only in Class of Nukem High and like maybe like 2 other Troma movies as like bit parts. He is giving it his all. He is sweating and just furious at every scene. He's a great villain. I love him.
It's fucking weird. He's the most effective villain. And again, like I don't remember him at all. If you told me to like recap this movie, I don't think Bozo's included. But why did Toxie defend this city? Oh wait, you know what? I wrote that in advance. Do you know Lloyd explains that? Lloyd like goes out of his way to explain that.
What does he say?
He has that random scene where a doctor shows up and starts teaching a class about the Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
And he reveals, like, he just buries this in the movie. And, like, I think, honestly, it was probably shot after the fact because probably people had the same question I did, which was like, why the fuck did Melvin want to save the city? Like, when Melvin is tortured, the entire gym, which appears to be the entire town, is like dying laughing at him and like all in on it. Like the Toxic Avenger would not save the city. He would just burn it to the fucking ground.
Yeah, it should be like a Jason Voorhees.
Right. But that doesn't happen. He saves the fucking town. But this doctor midway through the movie just randomly pops up and is like, the monster can like without knowing will kill bad people. Like he doesn't even need to know the person. He somehow has an instinct to kill bad people, whether he knows they did something bad or not.
Yeah. The original Mangle expert.
The original Mangle. Dude, literally a doctor just walks up to the stage and says it. And then 5 minutes later, as if we didn't just see that, 5 minutes later, Toxie hears that in his head and is like, oh.
Oh, can I just say the scenes of Toxie running, like frolicking in the field and just growling and then looking at the camera, ripping coats off him is the funniest shit of all time.
Lloyd, like,
you can watch that all day.
Wouldn't you have loved to have been there and seen how Lloyd was fucking shooting this? Because, like, it's only an hour and 20 minutes. It's an hour and 20 minutes, and there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of, like, I don't want to call it B-roll, but, like, extra shots, right? Like, of just Toxie doing shit. And it's so silly.
Can you imagine not even just being there? Could you imagine like driving on your way to work and just seeing that happening in the field?
Which, dude, I actually kept thinking about that because I was like, they didn't have a budget, and we've watched the documentary.
They didn't have permits either. We watched Renegade.
We watched those documentaries on Lloyd's other movies, and it was always like, we have like one day to fucking film this, and you would just see the traffic, like like people living their fucking lives, and they'd be like, we have one day to shoot this because then we're getting kicked out, and they would do this in front of people going to work. And yeah, imagine seeing the Toxic Avenger frolicking in a field
in a tutu,
and it's probably silent because fucking Lloyd ADRs everything after the fact. So just some guy doing it out there silently, not speaking, not doing anything, just fucking frolicking around. Absolutely not. Dude, the voice is so funny. I want to know so much about this. We meet this group of kids who will be our villains, or one set of villains for the movie. And they love two things: fucking and running over children. And
yes.
They make this clear. They do end up making this clear in their actions, but they make this clear from the beginning by just talking to each other and are just like they like meet each other at the gym and they're like, I can't wait to run over fucking children. Like they verbally say this shit.
One of the girls is like, can I please come with you this time? And then like, yeah, I hope he gets this like this time. Like it's ridiculous. And while they're saying it, you're like, they can't be talking about what I think they're talking about. But then you watch them do it later on. You're like, oh, all right.
And the girl gets so turned on by being allowed to hit children with cars that she immediately is like, we need to have sex right now. Fucking ridiculous. And dude, the 80s fake boobies are out in full effect in this one.
Yeah.
They do not move. They do not sway. They do not. Those are stiff, baby. Those. But anyway, hey. We hear them talk about it. They have sex. We end up going straight to them in a car. They're driving like maniacs, and they spot a kid riding his bike. And they're like, get him. And he turns the car around. He fucking runs over this kid. That scene was crazy. When he hits him with the car.
Yeah. But they find out by looking in their rear view, he's not dead. So the girl's like, you better go back and finish it. And like Sean's saying, especially if you're a first-time viewer, and I can't even imagine if it was 1984, hitting a kid on a bike is holy shit enough. Going back and running the head over and then watching the head explode under the tire is fucking insane. And he did this effect by taking a watermelon and injecting it with dye and corn syrup and then putting a wig on it. And it is like, that is brilliant because it's so effective because the watermelon is literally getting crushed and exploding and it looks like it's somebody's
it's
head.
Nuts. It's fucking crazy.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's absolutely fucking crazy. Exploding a fucking head. Just a kid's head too. A fucking kid's head. And it's all about points too. It's not even like they're like, you don't get the points unless he's fucking dead. And that's like why he turns around. Oh god, that was insane. And then they start taking pictures of the dead kid.
Yeah.
Which will come into play later in the movie in the most obscene way.
Fucking Lloyd, man. He should have been arrested.
He honestly should have been. That's so
You're arresting the 2 Live crew in 1989 for singing songs about getting head. And you don't arrest Lloyd.
This motherfucker is like deranged. Like, why would make you even think that? I saw her with the Polaroids. I was like, what? I even wrote a joke. I was like, why is she holding Polaroids? Fucking dead kids. It's psychotic. Okay. Well... Anyway, we cut back to the gym. These bullies are bullying everyone. I think they killed an aerobics instructor with a snake.
Put a snake down the back of his shirt.
I don't know why that happens. And then one of those sexy evil women lures Melvin into the girls' locker room where Melvin does his best face acting I've ever seen. And she's like, I want to have sex, but you have to wear this tutu outfit that I bought you and bring your mop. Which is now setting up, obviously, the most famous scene, right? But why? This is like a serious question. Like, I'm being very serious, and somebody might know the answer. It might be documented. I don't know. We probably could have done a lot more legwork on this episode because there's probably like tons of videos and shit. But like, why did Lloyd, like, you're designing a monster, right? You're designing a monster for a movie. You're designing a character. I mean, I guess he didn't think it would be a franchise, but like, who's like, he needs to wear a fucking tutu. Like, the monster has to be in a tutu so badly that we have to somehow crowbar how Melvin is in a tutu. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, that's a lot of effort to get Toxie in a tutu.
I mean, I think it's just fucking Lloyd, dude.
Like, that's
like,
amazing.
Really funny. He's like,
dude,
this guy wears polka dots in a tutu, and then he has to wear it forever because he turns into the Toxic.
You know what, Joe? I think you're 100% right, because in those documentaries we've seen, he like, once it's his idea and he's like focused on it, he's like, that's what it is. And people will be like, we can do it this way and it'll be easier. And he's like, no, like, that doesn't make sense. And it's like the most illogical shit.
Dude, to Lloyd's credit, like, he is explaining the backstory as to why he has it. And I'm sure he's not putting that much effort into it.
No,
like, that'll be
clearly
funny.
Not. He's just like, he thinks the payoff is like a monster in a tutu. Like, that must have been like, for him, like the funniest shit in the world. And he's like, now we have to figure out how to get him in it.
Yeah, exactly. Which a lesser filmmaker would have just skipped that part. They would be like, he's going to wear a tutu.
He doesn't need to wear the tutu. He can wear jeans or whatever. Like, instead, Lloyd's like, have the girl be like, I only fuck guys in tutus. Oh my God, that's so wild. Anyway, Melvin goes in. He thinks he's cuddling with a woman, but it's a fucking sheep. which is somehow like he is like absolutely stunned by. He even says, I think, like, you're so soft.
You're so soft, yeah. Kissing a sheep.
And this prank is performed by the entire Trauma gym. There's must be 400 fucking people there laughing at him. And this leads to Melvin. Another thing that I never really, I guess, thought about or picked up on. Melvin throws himself out of that fucking window.
Yeah, he runs towards it and jumps out.
I always like kind of put it on the bullies throwing him out the window. But like Melvin's just like, peace out. Like he could have just run out the front door.
I mean, I think he was in despair. I think that's the point.
You fucking jump out a fucking window?
Well, I mean, he's trying to kill himself.
Oh, well, that's sad. Okay. Now I feel like a jerk. All right.
But don't worry, because luckily there are two guys carrying open vats of toxic waste who decided to pull over on the curb and do a bunch of blow, as toxic waste carriers tend to do.
Yeah, and that scene lasts so long. It's like, dude, we see the toxic sludge people like from like 5 minutes in, and we just randomly cut to them driving to the gym where they're like, oh, let's park here and do blow. But like we watch them for some reason like multiple times, like explaining why they're parking, explaining where they're going, explaining what they're carrying. Lloyd's the fucking man. Like he's just so fucking weird, dude. Like he's so fucking weird. He falls out of the sludge barrels though. His skin starts bubbling. Bozo, is that his name?
Bozo, yeah. Bozo and Slug are the two guys.
Bozo comes out, and Bozo fucking killed me here. Like, I was honestly laughing so fucking hard. Bozo, because, like, the girls are like, you fucking did this. Like, you fucking caused this to happen. Like, and he's like, no. He's like, he's faking it. He keeps yelling, he's faking it. And then he goes, he can't take a joke. It's the craziest thing. I thought that was like the funniest shit I ever heard. A cop comes to try to help Melvin. The cop catches on fire, which you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Him. Yeah, which you're like, that doesn't make sense because Melvin's not on fire. And then Melvin bursts into flames.
and then Night on Bald Mountain plays, the song from like Fantasia.
Dude, why does it, dude, that song, what's the name of that song?
Night on Bald Mountain. So it must be public domain because he plays it like 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, clearly a public domain song and somehow turned into Toxie's theme song, which was also in other movies. Can you imagine, like, you're like, can you even imagine pitching this? Like, being like, by the way, this, like, think about the Avengers theme song, how epic it is. And they're like, yeah, by the way, we're going to do that Fantasia song.
It kind of, dude, it works.
Dude, it works so fucking well. When he shows up and that music plays, it's so awesome. So he's on fire. He runs away. He runs home. He gets into the tub, and some of the most insane special effects for low budget ever, like the skin's bubbling. Also the worst Foley artist of all time, because it's clearly Lloyd rubbing balloons with his hands, like for the effects of the skin expanding. It's just like, it's awful. But that's it. And Melvin's mom is concerned, but she can't get in to see him. She pridefully walks away saying, my little Melvin must have finally reached puberty. Guys, like, that is not what you would think. You would be like, somebody's dying in there. He's like,
I need to call 911.
And then, before we know it, Toxie is on the loose. The Toxic Avenger is out.
We don't see his face.
You don't see his face right away. His mask in this, I also did not realize was very different than what he'll become, I think, in part 2. A much more low-budget mask.
Did we do part 2 for the show? Have we done that?
I honestly...
I know we've done 3, and I know we've done 4.
I don't think we did 2. Oh, yeah, 2 has the best fucking cover.
Yeah, the cover of 2 is awesome.
Yo, we skipped the only 2 good Toxic Avenger movies. That's fucking incredible. That's honestly fucking incredible. Good job, guys. Unless we did 2, which very well, we were going to get 8 emails about it.
Yeah, somebody let us know.
And we probably said we fucking hated it. And you know what? 2 actually changes. What the fuck? So that's so weird. Because in this, Toxie will get his blind girlfriend in the first movie, which I did not remember. Her name is Sarah. That is a theme throughout all of the Toxic Avenger movies. But it was funny because when I was watching this, I was like, oh, it's so crazy because Sarah is a normal looking girl. Sarah is like, she's a very pretty woman, but she's not what we'll see in the later movies. And I thought that was weird because in the later ones, it's like teased fucking hair, giant fake boobs. Like, it's crazy. Like, the blind girlfriend is and she's always wearing like a bikini, and it's just like, it's all very silly. In the second movie, they change her name and the actress, obviously, to Claire, which is the name I remembered. When I saw Sarah, I was like, oh, that's weird. Her name's Claire in the second one. I think they keep that name throughout the rest of them. And she's a much different character than in the first one, which I think is interesting. But anyway, so Toxie's on the loose. And we meet the Cretans, our first intro to the Cretans, the gang. Because for a minute, I thought those bullies were going to be like kind of our proto-Cretan crew. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, if Lloyd ever writes in how they kind of like transformed into the Cretans, he didn't need to, because he included the fucking Cretans themselves.
Right away.
A little more low-key than the Cretans were used to, but very much the Cretans, for sure. Like, fucking face paint, very dramatic. They're artists. The Cretans are artists in crime. Like, you gotta have a look, you gotta have a gimmick, you gotta have face paint, you gotta have all these fucking things. And we meet the Cretans, who are about to pay off. They're trying to bribe a cop, and the cop, which, by the way, there's 3 Cretans. 2 of them are like, yeah, he doesn't take bribes. And the one we'll find out his name is fucking Cigar Face.
Cigar Face.
Sounds like a name we would give somebody in high school. Fucking Man Face.
It's Cigar Face, Knuckles, and Nipples. Those are the 3.
And Knuckles and Nipples are like, yeah, he doesn't take bribes. And Cigar Face is like, yeah, we'll see about that. And the cop comes and they're like, here's some cash. And the cop's like, absolutely not. And the guy's like, well, now you're going to find out why they call me Cigar Face, which is, he puts out cigars on his face. They're about to shoot that cop's dick off for whatever reason. They're like, but dude, I didn't even hear exactly what he said, but like, Nipples is like, you know, the boss said to fucking he says something, and they're like, oh yeah, and then he just puts the gun on the guy's dick, and you're like, what the fuck would the boss have said? That
well, Nipples might be my favorite side character in this whole thing because of that line. And then when the Toxic Avenger first shows up right here, Nipples' reaction is like so genuine as to it's like that mask was revealed to him for the first time, because his eyes are just like and the way he says holy shit, but the way he says it sounds so authentic. It's fucking awesome.
Maybe he didn't see it. I mean, fucking unreal. And he Toxie shows up, like you said, rips off their hair or wigs, I don't know. Rips Nipples rips Knuckles' nose off. Just rips it off his fucking face. Unreal. And then fucking takes Nipples' eyes out with his fingers.
With his fingers, yep.
That is crazy.
Not to be outdone, he punches Cigar Face's dick 10,000 times.
Dude, wait. He fucking picks up Cigar Face by the nuts, throws him into an oil drum so his legs are straight up and down, and then speed bags his fucking dick. Bro, that's so stupid. Fucking And like half of this shit has to be Lloyd ad-libbing on set, right? Like they put him in the oil barrel and it's like, you gotta fucking speed bag his fucking nuts.
And it's just for the payoff of that guy getting up and be like, I'm gonna get you.
Which of course is ADR'd, because like almost the entire movie's fucking ADR'd. Fucking ridiculous.
But after he speed bags that guy's nuts, Cigar Face's nuts, we finally get to hear Toxie's voice, which is not Melvin's voice.
No.
I mean, Melvin had a very funny, ridiculous voice.
Yes.
But then we get Toxie's voice, and he is the most proper speaking human being of all time. He's immediately just like, I'm sorry, I never done anything like this before.
And it's so like, it's so fucking genius. It's so like, I don't know. Again, I think it's just Lloyd being like, this is funny. Like this,
and he's right. And he's right because you hear Toxie growling the entire time he's turned into Toxie. He's just going. I
just want to interrupt real quick. That growl is like, honestly, like if you actually listen to it, is like, I was like, how did they make this? Like, it's actually like fucking intense. Like, I was like, Lloyd actually put effort into that fucking growl. Like,
yeah,
and a lot of time recording it because there's so many variations of it. So, sorry, I just wanted to say that because the growl is like,
no,
fucking
it's
big.
Great growl. Yeah. And that is a funny payoff because Toxie's essentially Frankenstein's monster as a superhero,
right?
And like how the people react to him is how they react to Frankenstein. And even the payoff at the end is like maybe he wasn't really a monster, but all that to say, he's just growling like a Frankenstein monster would. But then to hear him talk in such a proper, like eloquent. In such a proper and eloquent way, it is funny. Lloyd's fucking genius.
When he goes home and like it's as if Frankenstein monster can speak because he's like talking about his plight to Sarah, his girlfriend, and he's like, "Oh, geez, Sarah, like I don't know, like gee Wilkers, I feel like I'm lost. I can't control myself." It's so silly.
And even right before that, he's growling at the door, and Sarah is scared because she's like, "Who's there?" And it's him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we get our first glimpse into the politics of Tromaville, which again we will see throughout. The corrupt mayors, the corrupt cops, taking money, siding with the Cretans. Everything is for cash. Doesn't matter what the people think. They're going to move the landfill and move it to where the drinking water is, and then they all laugh at that, which is their drinking water also. But
and the mayor, it's worth noting, is a very large man. You'll see him in a lot of Troma movies.
Yeah,
but he's always like shirtless and just laying on top of sandwiches, eating hoagies at any given time.
Yeah, Pat Ryan Jr. Oh God, he passed away super young, dude. Like 6 years after this.
Sean, of course he did.
well, remember that fucking other guy that's in Troma movies that like Lloyd like treats like absolute dog shit, and the guy's like
he died too.
Oh yeah, he did. Fuck, dude. Those clips where he's like, Lloyd, I hate this movie and I'm going to walk off. And Lloyd's like, fine, like fucking leave. And he's like, oh, fine, I won't, I'll stay. And then they'll like interview him later and he's like, yeah, Lloyd talked me into it. And it's like, no, he did. Like it cuts to Lloyd and Lloyd's like, I don't give a fuck. Like leave. If you're like, if you're going to be like this, leave. Like Lloyd's a little childish too, but whatever.
For sure. I also love that the chief of police is a literal Nazi. He has a German accent, and the whole time you're like, "Is this guy a Nazi?" And then at the very end, he sig hails when getting an order from the mayor.
And he calls to that a bunch of times. Like he'll click his heels together and be like, "Whoops."
And there's no purpose to that other than Lloyd's like. It'd be real funny if I had a Nazi in this movie.
Funniest shit to Lloyd is putting Nazis in it that get killed. Which fair. Melvin learns the hard truth that he can't go home. His mom's scared of him when she answers the door. And he sets up his famous home in the landfill. Like we get that backstory, which will continue again through every single fucking movie. Toxie lives in the landfill. Cut to a taco place where the Cretans decide to hold it up. They shoot one guy. Dude, the death scenes are so wild. Like even these extras that were just fucking there to get killed are like convulsing on the they're acting their fucking asses.
That's why this movie works, because none of them are professional actors. They're all just like giving it. They're all these three villains that come in are honestly like terrifying. Not like nobody's watching this movie and scared, but like they are like giving it their best effort to be piece of shit robbers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're doing everything. They're doing fucking everything. And this is where we will meet Sarah, the blind woman who is the love interest to Toxie, and also the dog shooting scene. Yeah.
Hey, your camera cut out.
So. Yeah, I was doing something.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries. I just think there's a specter in here. Don't worry about the specter. Speaking of specter, should we talk about that fucking shit that we saw at your house?
Dude.
I just want to say one thing about it. I know. It's going to like bug you out. But I just want people to know, because we got a ton of fucking messages being like, was it planned? Was it staged? Dude, you can see my fucking face in that. Like, I rewatched it, and you can see my face. That is a fucking very real reaction. And what's fucking weird, and I don't know if Joe has even posted about this or not, or told people, Joe has been talking to me about weird shit going on there, not since you moved in, but like within like the last year, which, I mean, we've only both been in our new houses for 2 years. But like in the last like 6 months, like you've fucking told me some shit that I was like, honestly, Joe, the last thing you told me, I genuinely believe there was somebody in your house. I didn't want to say it to you because that's terrifying, but I thought somebody was in your fucking house, like a kid or something.
Let's go off the rails here. Let's go for. I tried to tell the story during the live show, but I was honestly too flustered to like get it out. But this is legitimately true. I was in the bathroom getting ready to go pick Shay up from school because it was her actual birthday. We're gonna go. I was picking her up, and then we're gonna get her ready so we can go out and get some food. And turn on the water to my sink, and I hear a pound on my door, not my outside door, my bathroom door, to the point where I just turned off the water and stood there. And like when things like that happen, like I can't explain it. You'd only be able to relate if you've experienced something like that. But like when you hear something like that, I remember just standing there still being like, did that really just fucking happen? And I said out loud, nobody else is in the house. I said out loud 1 second and waited to hear if like I heard anyone. And I'm like, I remember like cocking my head being like, what the fuck? And I was like, maybe my dad, because my dad watches Logan during the day. So I was like, maybe my dad brought him over, like, because he knew we were going out with Shay. So I was like, what the fuck? So I looked out the window, and then it happened again. I was like, dude, what the fuck? And then the handle on the door, this sounds very exaggerated, but the handle on the door fell off. And I took a picture and sent it to Sean. Yeah. And I also sent a picture to Sean of me calling my parents immediately after, being like, was that you? Like, was that you? And my dad's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you were just in the house? He's like, no, I wasn't in the house. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, I got to call you back. So I called my mom, and I was like, were you in the house? And she's like, no. I was like, the fucking handle on the bathroom, the inside bathroom door fell off on the out, like the one that goes into the room. And like, I heard pounding on the door and like in the bathroom. And like, I'm not making that up. It wasn't a pipe. It wasn't shit. I have PEX pipes. So I know it wasn't an old pipe. I just had them redone. So like, I heard a fucking knock. And then 2 days later, I even called my neighbor and was like, can you check your, because when I told Sean, I was like, I actually think somebody might have been in the house. Yeah. I don't think it was like a ghost or anything. Like I think somebody was in my house trying to fucking steal shit.
Yes, that's what I thought. When you told me, I was like, I didn't even want to say it because like that's really fucking scary and unsettling. Because I was like, I was like, it's a fucking kid. Like it's not a kid or like a young person that's stealing or like.
Yeah. You know, first I was like, that's weird, like ghosts. But then you're like, no, ghosts aren't real. So somebody was in my fucking house. And so I called my neighbor and I was like, can you check? Because he has a camera on his garage that shows both of our driveways. So like, can you rewind it and check it and like see if he saw anything? So he did. And he's like, no, man, I didn't see anything. So that's like how serious I took it. And then the next day, or 2 days later, rather, it was the day of Shay's birthday party at like 7 a.m. Tina and I were getting stuff ready, and the kids come running into the room, and I have the reaction on video, because Logan, they were so excited. They came running into the room, and they were like, guys, like, we just heard a voice, and me and Tina were like, what are you talking about? But they're in the sunroom where there's no TV, there's nothing they could have heard, and like somebody just said happy birthday, Shay, and Logan was saying like, is Grandpa playing a trick on us? And I was like, nobody's outside. And then both of them were like, well, maybe it was the neighbor. Like maybe the neighbor. I was like, the neighbor wouldn't come into our backyard and stand outside the sunroom and say that. And then they went back into the room and they came running back out after. And like, somebody's knocking on the door. So I'm like, I'm gonna
fucking lose my fucking mind.
But anyway, during the live show, people saw something moving behind me, and some of our followers slowed it down. Like they took it, the spot where it happened, and they slowed it down. And like, I'm still somebody who has to use logic. Like, it probably was like lighting or something, but there is definitely like a shadow, and it appears in like the middle of the room and moves that way.
So there was a moment during it, you were adjusting the light, and I saw it like through your shadow in a funny way, and I was like, oh, that's what it fucking was. It was his shadow. Like, that's what I saw walking across. Like, but then I realized it was not a shadow. I rewound it or watched the replay after, and I was like, that can't be his fucking shadow. It doesn't even match up. That was fucking scary as fuck, dude. And by the way, you'll see my reaction does not look like I'm scared at all, but that's probably the most genuine nervous human reaction you'll ever see in your life, where I'm just like cackling. I'm laughing so fucking hard because I'm like so fucking scared.
Dude, I like to pretend I'm a tough guy. That when I was in the bathroom that time and I said 1 second out loud, it was probably the most scared I've been, because I was like, there's somebody at my bathroom door.
No, that's fucked up, dude. I would lose my fucking mind. Well, anyway, I just want to address that, and we should have mentioned that at the top of this conversation, that there was some weird shit in the videos. Like, you can see some shit, and whether it's lights or something, I don't know what the fuck it is, but like with the other shit going on, I don't know, man. But whether it's lights or whatever, check it out if you're a Patreon member, because it's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. There's like a thing that like moves, that dangles at one point, and it's like, bro, like what the fuck? It moves like there's wind in the basement. It's fucking weird. I know. I'm sorry. I just had to talk about it. Like, we haven't really talked about it. Since
I see that, like, if you look behind me right now, there's like those two things, and I keep thinking they're like eyes. I don't even know what it is. You see that thing?
Yeah. Fuck. Ooh, that is too much. That's too much. Gotta sell it. 2 years. We're over the 2-year mark, so we can sell them now. Text without getting hit. Anyway, hey guys, Toxic Avenger? So Toxie, those guys that attack the taco place, Toxie shows up. They're about to fucking sexually assault her. Well, they did sexually assault her. They were about to rape her. Until Toxie shows up, rips off his fucking arm, which is fucking nuts. And then the guy's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And like throws his shoulder like he's throwing a punch. And then like looks down and is like, what the fuck? And there's
fun fact, that actor has no arm in real life. He's missing an arm.
That's amazing. There's so much karate and martial arts though for some reason here, and to a point where the guy Toxie's fighting like pulls out like a martial arts style sword. like what the fuck is this? Like Lloyd for sure just hired his fucking karate instructor. And then Toxie and Sarah fall in love immediately.
Yeah.
Monster saves the day is all over the newspaper.
Kills a guy with ice cream, which is a great death.
Yes. Monster saves the day. We're seeing the newspaper clippings. We get the doctor that tells us that the monster fights crime unintentionally. He can't control himself from fighting crime. Cut to a guy selling steroids at the gym who is not an in-shape person, but is selling steroids and working out. And like, it's so bizarre because Toxie just randomly shows up, like, at the fucking gym to kill this guy for selling steroids.
Yes, and that guy, worth noting, he's on the mayor's payroll because you saw him in one of the meetings.
Yeah. He's one of the. He's like, here's the drug money. Fucking kills that guy. Then that girl goes into the sauna. One of the killer girls goes into the sauna, starts diddling herself to the Polaroids of dead children in the sauna.
In the sauna.
Fucking nuts. And then Toxie shows up there and picks her up and puts her ass on the hot coals.
Death by getting your ass burned on hot sauna.
And his big one-liner here was, let that be a lesson to you, hot ass.
Written by Buzz himself.
had to fucking
most Buzz line I've ever heard.
The fuck does that mean? Anyway, Toxie's outside. What are you doing over there?
Sorry. Opening a can of vodka.
Oh, hello. Toxie,
is it very loud? I'm sorry.
It's so loud. It's like fucking like I mean, I think it's gonna be on the recording. It's like,
I mean, the microphone's right here.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts. It was like actually fucking nuts. I don't even know why I tried to go over it. I should have just paused and waited till you were ready.
Dude, all I had to do was open the flap, but of course I like ripped it wrong, so then I just had to keep tearing it.
What are those?
Doghead fish. This one's Gin Crush.
Oh shit, dude! I'm all about these fucking mixed drinks in a can, man.
Yeah, I was drinking. We keep getting derailed. I was just drinking straight Seagram's, but I left all my seltzer upstairs, so now I'm out. Keeping it going. There
you go. Well, Toxie leaves the gym, where he's approached for no reason by a pimp who's like, 12-year-old girls for $12, and you're like, what the this is fucking nuts.
It's Lloyd's commentary on like inner city New York City crime at the time is so but we've talked about it in the past, like it's so extreme, but it's also like New York City had that reputation at the time. Like it was just a fucking chaotic hellhole,
and everyone, like, no one there was, I mean, I shouldn't say that. The people involved in that shit aren't very intelligent. I don't know why we give them credit. They probably very well did go up to people being like, 12-year-old, $12, and then wondered why like the police were able to arrest them so easily. But, how'd you figure me out? And Toxie just murders these guys so fast, which, by the way, because it's one pimp, and then for some reason 18 other pimps show up.
A clown car of henchmen.
And Toxie just fucking murders them all. And then we get the montage of Toxie just being a wonderful superhero, walking old ladies across the street,
opening tight cans,
dude. Like, and I feel like he does this in every Toxie movie too. Like, he always has like a Toxie montage of him like doing silly stuff. It's so ridiculous.
It's him doing good deeds, and then him in the field just ripping his jacket off of him, growling. I love it.
Then he meets back up with Cigar Face, who's back and pissed, with a bunch of friends, and they all have guns pointed at Toxie in a circle. They've got him surrounded.
And the mayor sent Cigar Face. He's like, kill the monster.
Yeah,
that's why they're there.
Yeah, the mayor is not a good guy. He's trying to kill Toxie. So they've got Toxie surrounded with guns, and they start shooting, and Toxie just jumps super high in the air.
So it's essentially a 6-person Mexican standoff, except they're all aiming at Toxie, but he jumps, and they all shoot each other.
They're all dead by their own guns. And Toxie's on the balcony, flipping them off like the werewolf in that fucking
Cursed.
Dude, honestly,
that's what I thought of too.
Dude, who directed Cursed? Like, maybe
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven's definitely not shouting out Lloyd. Never mind. Fuck. I really felt like I was watching this and I was like, whoever did that in that movie like, watch this. Because, dude, it was the same fucking thing. Toxie somehow jumps on a balcony or like a fire escape.
Yeah.
And just like is doing the werewolf flip off, like the hunch, everything is the fucking same. I was like, I think that's like a fucking Lloyd shout out, man. Like, I don't know. I thought it was. Anyway, Sarah's in trouble again. Sarah, I love you, Sarah, but you gotta stop going out in trauma because they don't treat blind people very nicely. Sarah goes out, gets in trouble. Toxie does save her, and we get our first romantic scene between Sarah and Toxie, where I think Sarah gives him a hand job until he comes smoke. I believe that's the takeaway in that scene. I don't fully know. But regardless, the next scene they have sex with clothes on. Who would you fuck? Who?
Are you throwing Swamp Thing in here?
Yeah, dude.
Yes, I knew it was coming.
Who you fucking? You fucking Swamp Thing that eats his own dick? Wait, who eats the dick? Swamp Thing? No, you both eat the dick. And you like...
Well, he only tore off a little piece for her.
Right, he ate the
dick.
Yeah. Eating his own hog, baby.
That's true love, man.
That's so crazy. Who you fucking? Are you fucking Swamp Thing high off his own supply, or are you fucking Toxie just smoking? Come and smoke everywhere.
Probably Swamp Thing. The smoke's gonna hurt. Like
that's what I was like, dude. Like, you don't know what's coming out of this fucking guy.
Yeah, it's toxic waste.
It's toxic. He's fucking literally made of toxic waste. He's probably gonna kill you.
So is Swamp Thing, though, right? That's why Swamp Thing.
Because, like, dude. So here's the thing with Swamp Thing, right? He Swamp Thing is fucking way more powerful than people think. He controls all of the forest. Like, he is plant. He just goes in.
Yeah, so not that movie.
No, not in that movie, by the way. I don't know why I'm explaining it like that. But theoretically, God damn it, Swamp Thing could like stretch his arms, right? So if I'm fucking Swamp Thing, or if I'm
what Swamp Thing are we talking about though?
I know
the one that rips his dick off, or just the general Swamp Thing?
So, okay.
That might change my answer.
Answer. That definitely changes my answer because we have to talk about only Swamp Thing with eating his own
from
dick.
Return of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you fuck that guy because he's like the least threatening person of all time.
Yeah,
literally rips his dick off. Yeah. He can't have sex with you anymore. He just eats his own dick, and then you're like, oh, okay. So what do we do now?
You just scissor.
You wait for it to grow back. He's like, wait 5 years. Grow back. Anyway,
his fingers are ribbed for.
Somehow we're still talking about the Toxic Avenger. So Toxie's on the loose. Werewolf flips him off. He runs. They have sex. Then we get the funniest fucking Toxie moment in the movie, which is the final woman who's part of the bullies. Yeah. She's the last one standing. She's like changing her shoes at the gym at the bench, and Toxie slides out from under the bench.
His head pops. It's just his head.
And just yells, "Murderer!" The fuck was that? That was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Because Toxie has not been discreet in any way, shape, or form.
No,
like he had no need to be hiding.
Dude, hiding under a bench. He's fucking 7 feet tall. Fucking stinks.
You would smell him.
You smell. Oh my god, dude! I feel like he enters the building, and no matter where you are in the building, you're like, oh fuck, like,
oh fuck, Melvin's here.
Melvin's here. Fucking nuts. Anyway, he chases her into the basement. She runs away.
Fun fact. Well, it's only the director's cut, which I did watch. Marissa Tomei makes a cameo at 56 minutes and 19 seconds. She's the one that comes out of the shower and screams while Toxie is choking that girl up against the wall.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, a young Marissa Tomei.
She's it for me. That's the top.
She's great.
That's
super young, very Italian looking in this one. I like it.
She's probably like the only celebrity crush I have. Like,
wow, okay.
I don't really have like celebrity crushes really. Anyway, Toxie pops out, and then her death is the only off-screen death I think in the movie for some reason, right? Like Toxie holds up a pair of scissors, you see the shadow, and I don't think you see.
Yeah. Nah.
Lloyd was like, that would be fucking too much.
Gotta draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, fucking know you sick. Anyway, outside, Slug and Bozo see Toxie and are like, we gotta run him over too. Which they try, and they fail. Toxie just rides the hood, baby.
Did he kill that girl, or he just cut off her hair? Sorry, I'm going back to that.
I don't know. Why would he not kill her? She was.
I think that's the joke that Lloyd's making, but I don't know.
Like nice, good job, Lloyd.
But yes, they try to kill him, and Toxie ends up in the car.
Toxie throws one dude out of the car.
Slug,
and then drives. But also, why is this scene is so long, Joe? This scene is actually so long because I had to watch it twice. Because I was like, did I miss something? And then I didn't, and I just had to watch that twice. It's like so fucking long of Toxie and him fighting in the car, leading up to Toxie just driving it off the fucking cliff with him inside.
While Toxie's laughing the entire time.
It's so fucking weird. It's so weird, like how Toxie changes too, right? Like peeking out from under the bench and now like laughing. It's so fucking weird. Wait, did we miss? Oh no! It's coming up. Oh, thank God. Anyway, so Toxie blows up the car, killing the bullies, Slug, and that other guy. Toxie. The next scene is the weirdest scene. And it's so fucking weird. It's so fucking bizarre. We go to a dry cleaner, and there's a woman there, and Toxie throws her. She is seemingly an innocent woman, right? I was actually very confused. I was like, am I supposed to know who this is? Because Toxie walks in and is like,
no, dude, it's a great job by Lloyd because we don't know who she is. It seems very random.
Yes,
you're going to explain in detail what he does, but then afterwards you're like, oh, Toxie fucked up, and then that's where the movie turns from right there. Everyone's like, Toxie just killed this woman for no reason.
That's that's genuinely good movie making. That's
great. Yeah,
that's fucking great. You have to be able to do something like that. Like, I'm not even gonna get off the rails again. But
he does, and there's only like 10 minutes left in the movie too.
Yeah, I know. He waited a little while to pretend to be a filmmaker.
No, it's funny though, because he pulls it off. Like the people turn on him, and then he gets his redemption with 10 fucking minutes left.
It's nuts. He takes this woman, he throws her in an industrial dryer, turns it on, fucking kills her. Newspapers are asking the same thing, that we are. What the fuck is going on? Why did he kill an innocent person? And then Melvin goes to his home lair, his fuck pad with Sarah, and he's like, I lost control. I don't think I'm in control at all. And you should leave because I'm a freak. Cut to the fucking mayor's office where they're like, oh, did you see she died? And they're like, oh yeah, she owned a slavery ring. And they're like, she wasn't as nice as you think. She owned a slavery ring. I was like,
human trafficking. Yeah.
But again, it's like Lloyd being like, it's Lloyd just being over the top to show you how bad these people are. Like, she wasn't just bad.
She's the worst of the worst.
Right. So she wasn't good. So Toxie's instincts were correct. He killed the right person. He did not kill an innocent person. And then the mayor's like, we're going to kill Toxie, which gets out to the townspeople. And the townspeople are like, Toxie's the best. Which really, I mean, surface level, let's look at this and be like, maybe he's not. He did just kill that woman. And we are not privy to the knowledge that she is in the slave trade. We just think she's a nice woman. Why are these people protecting him? But they are very like, Toxie's the best. He saved our town. He saved
and a lot of people are the one that are behind him are ones that Toxie personally saved.
Yeah, like they're like, I would have been killed. Yeah. The ice cream shop owner. They all credit Toxie for that, even though like no one would ever step foot in that ice cream parlor ever again, regardless of the outcome of that incident. That's nuts that they're all eating ice cream there actually days after a massacre. And the dog was shot.
No way they cleaned it up. The Trovember sanitation.
No. But they are like, we need to save our monster hero. The mayor, meanwhile, calls the National Guard like really easily. He's like, he calls the governor. He's like, Governor! And then he's like, oh, will you send the National Guard? Okay. National Guard shows up. All of this is to kill Toxie.
Yep.
They get there, they surround Toxie, but the townspeople show up for him, man.
And the whole time, like the cop that's on the force that was saved by him was like, we can't do this. Plus he's with his girlfriend, Sarah. Mm-hmm. And even the mayor at one point is like, what's one life compared to saving thousands of others?
Yeah.
And I like that Lloyd is putting this in there. Like,
I know.
Lloyd's the fucking man.
He really is. And the mayor says, fucking end him, kill him. Because they hold up for the kids, and then the mayor's like, fuck it, we have to kill them all. Tells them to kill. The National Guard pulls their guns up. Cops all pull their guns up. They're like, nah, fuck this. Mayor goes, if you can't do it, I will. And he pulls out his gun. But thankfully, Toxie shows up, knocks it out of his hand, and then rips his fucking guts out of his stomach.
Says, let's see if you have any guts. And literally pulls out his guts.
Punches him in the gut and then rips out his fucking organs. What a super... Dude, it's a... You know what? Like, it's almost also like... It's a little bit like Proto-Invincible, that... the dude that does Walking Dead, that comic book. Where it's like that real-life superhero thing of like what you would actually... Like, what killing somebody would actually look like as like... superhero, like when the dad kills a bunch of people, like when you see him, like he's like crushing their fucking heads and they're like exploding because he's got Superman level powers. Like it's way more graphic than what we see in Superman. Right? And like that's what this is. This is like what Superman would do, would like just rip out your fucking organs and like throw them on the ground.
Remember in Smallville when they realized Superman couldn't fuck a normal girl because it would be too powerful, so they gave his girlfriend powers that she got from like the kryptonite so that they would be able to have sex finally?
I do not. I did not know that. Also, like I know, like theoretically, him fucking nutting is probably gonna fucking blow your brains out. Theoretically. But, like, you could fucking ignore that fact. You can that's more like internet lore, right? Like, right?
Yeah, I mean...
That's not like, you don't have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yo, what if go hardcore graphic and Superman pulls out and just shoots it into fucking space?
It's pretty crazy because Kevin. I think that has to be credited to Kevin Smith.
I agree.
He brings it up in Mallrats, right?
Yes.
Like Smallville doesn't address that if Kevin Smith doesn't have that thought, right?
I think you're right.
No way anybody would address that,
right?
But then the writers are like, well, we got like Superman has to like be sexually active. He's a horned up teen, like he's a horned up 20-year-old. But yeah, they wrote that in and they gave Lana Lang kryptonite powers. So fuck.
Now I just want to see Superman pull out and like shoot it into fucking space, and it like goes through a fucking plane or something. Fucking wild shit. That's now what I want to see. Fuck. That's interesting. Hey, we got to get a hold of what's his name? James Gunn. Speaking of Troma, James Gunn, who now is in charge of the DC studios. Pull it all together, motherfucker. Boom.
There you go. Goes back around.
Somehow. To DC. Hey, James Gunn, get at us. We'll write that Superman fucking spec up for you. Right quick. We'll be like, please do not ever send me anything like this ever again. Anyway, Toxie kills the mayor, and everyone's saved, and everyone's happy. That's how it ends. The mayor's fucking dead, and the mayor got his guts ripped out in front of everyone, and everyone's like, what?
Be the most traumatic experience of anyone's life.
Which is funny because they are shocked for like one brief moment, but then Toxie's like, Sarah, I love you so much, and then they just Monster loves somebody. That's it. That just fixed all of this murder we just saw. And that is the Toxic Avenger. Joe, would you recommend it?
Hell yeah. Dude, if you have seen Troma and you're understandably like, it's a bit much,
yeah,
I think Toxic Avenger will give you the experience of Troma and its excess, but in a more
controlled
way.
Yeah, agreed completely. I agree with that fucking completely. Yeah, if you avoid Troma, which I know some people do, and rightfully so, you could do this one for sure. This one's, I mean, I'm saying that, but the fucking dog got shot.
Without its offensiveness, but I think somehow, yeah. Now that you're saying that, a movie where children are being murdered and a dog's murdered and there's racial slurs and there's offensive stereotypes,
it
sounds really crazy to say, but somehow he does it calmer than the rest of his movies.
Okay, yes. In the other movies, it feels
less
so
abrasive.
It feels so erratic and like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing, dude? In this one, it feels like less of that. It feels like more like a time capsule.
Yeah, but yes, I recommend it. I do recommend it.
Yeah,
especially from like a filmmaking standpoint. We talked about it in the beginning. He does so much with so little, and the effects that he manages to do independently, on like a shoestring budget. Like, good job, boy. That's fucking crazy.
It's fucking nuts. It's absolutely fucking crazy. Love it so much. It is a favorite of mine, and I don't even know if it's based on the movie itself more than what we got out of it, right? Like, I love the fucking Troma movies. I don't know what we ever said on the show about them, but like, I do hate that fucking devil one. I do hate it, but it was like,
which one?
It's like 3 or 4 or 5. The devil is in Tromaville and runs. Dude, we did it for the show.
We did?
Yes. The devil is in Tromaville. It's not Toxic Avenger 5. That's called the Toxic Twins. I don't think I've ever seen that. It's not 4. That's the 2 Toxies. It's got to be 3. The last temptation of Toxic. Yeah, it's fucking the devil. Dude, he fights the fucking devil.
To my defense, I think that was like the first year of our show because we only did it for the part 3s.
Oh, yes.
So I don't remember much about that.
Is that what we did it for, the part 3s?
Yeah, and we recorded it in your old house's basement.
Oh, when it was so fucking hot.
When it was like 120 degrees, dude. It was arguably the hottest I've ever been in my life.
It was like it was almost like it felt kind of like an oven.
Yeah, and if we turned the fan on, it was like way too loud that our voices were dwarfed because of where it was, like, where the mics had to be set up and all that.
I also think it was just pumping hot air.
Sean, it was bad, man.
I know.
It was very uncomfortable.
It was insane. That was an air conditioner too. Anyway, Toxic Avenger 3 has the devil in it.
Okay.
What was that? What else was it? Oh, what I'm saying is it led to Toxic Avenger 1, like, carries the entire thing. It's what Troma becomes after this, right? He fucking makes this, fucking done. And was a Toxic Crusaders fan as a kid. Loved it so much. The toys were so sick. How that fucking happened is still fucking nuts to me. Nuts. Fucking crazy. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's not for the faint of heart. It is a fucking offensive. It's not nice, but it is. It's Lloyd. I don't know, man. There's just something about it. It's a time capsule. It's offensive to. He insults fucking everyone, man. He just hates everybody, except George Bush, who he took a bath with.
That is what he claimed. Check out our interview with him. The first person we ever interviewed, Lloyd Kaufman.
We cannot say. We don't even have to say allegedly to that, right? Because he said it, or do we still have to? Because it's alleged to him.
I mean, he said it.
He said it, so it's not alleged. Yeah. Lloyd Kaufman took a bath with George W.
Took a bath with George Bush. Yeah, and he said it so like convincingly that look, dude. Talking to Lloyd is one of those, like, you know those people. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm a little looped. Talking with Lloyd, you don't know. He says things that are so outlandish. Like, this guy he's fucking with me, but he says it so convincingly. It's so straight faced, but he's such a goofball. You just honestly have no clue. You're like, is this really? Because I think we said that to him after, like, some of the things were like, are you serious? And he's like, of course I'm fucking serious. He was like, he said that he expects every movie that he makes to be like a blockbuster, and he's devastated when it's not. And both of us were like, are you fucking sure about that, Lloyd? You're making Romeo and Juliet, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD is going to be a blockbuster. And he's like, I really mean that. Oh, okay.
He's such a fucking menace, dude. Like, and he does have a tell a little bit. Sometimes he'll smirk after, right? Like, it's almost like once the bit's done and you're moving on, then he'll give you like a little bit of a smirk to be like, okay, that was okay. So we're done with that joke. That was funny. Like, now we're on to the next one. However, he did not do that with like what you said and with the other question.
George Bush.
George Bush. He did not smile afterwards. He was like,
I asked him because he went to college with George Bush and Oliver Stone. He was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, we did. And I took a bath with him once. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah.
He's like, why would I say that?
Why would I make that up?
What are you, a fucking idiot?
That's actually how he like offended at me asking why, if you're serious.
Well, that's a good way to end Trovember, I think. Just a little Lloyd love right there for the guy.
Dude, I would love to talk to him again.
I know. We should probably set that up. He's like nearby. He's 76. We gotta, you know what? Which, by the way, uncredited as Lloyd Kaufman in his most famous movie. He used his fucking pseudonym, Samuel Wheel.
In Toxic Avenger?
Yeah. Huh. As the director. He didn't put his name as the director. It might be there for something else, but...
Oh, okay.
Because him and Michael Hurst directed together. Dude, he's been married since 1974.
Good for Lloyd.
Can you imagine being married to Lloyd that long? There's gotta be something else, man.
Running his ideas for Tales from the Crapper off his wife. Like,
dude, that's
in the
actually,
middle of the night.
That's actually
what if I did this?
Dude, that's actually so fucking funny. Because think about like the shit that we have to do with significant others or wives or ex-wives or whatever, where it's like,
I bounce shit off to Tina all the time. Like, well, what if I talk about, like, what if we do this for the show?
Yeah,
they should be like, oh yeah, whatever. But like, dude, imagine
those ideas. I've got this fucking
what
idea.
If he takes a spoon and he scoops out the shit from his pants and eats it, but it's really pudding. Okay, honey.
And we make my friend Ed, that just volunteers to do these movies for no pay. We'll make him do it. It'll be funny as fuck. Make him have blowing diarrhea in the toilet and get killed on the toilet. What about a movie called Tales from the Crapper? At some point, this woman's got to be like, you need to fucking stop. Oh my god. Troma has been credited with making the film industry significantly more accessible and decentralized. That's cool as fuck. Well, that's that, guys. Toxic Avenger and Troma. Love us a little Troma. What are we doing next week? Are we doing Amityville next week? Oh, wait, hang on.
It's about time.
It's about time.
And then we have Philly, so we're taking that week.
Yeah, we're gonna take a week off for Philly, guys. We're gonna which by the way, we have not plugged it all. November 11th and 12th will be at Monster Mania Con in Oaksville, PA. They've got a stacked card attendee list. Stacked show. So come out, check it out. We'll be there. They give us a little boothy booth. And we'll just be drunk. Probably have a fan run the booth again. And trust the booth with a fan while we drink. But come check us out. The 11th and 12th, Oaks, PA, Monster Mania Con. We will be there. So yeah, we're going to take that week off from recording. So there won't be a show on the 15th. There will be a show on the next week on the 8th. And that is going to be, do we want to do Amityville? Or are we doing Amityville in space? What are we doing?
I don't give a fuck.
What's our fucking Thanksgiving movie? Is it Amityville Thanksgiving? I mean, it has to be, right?
Well, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
The Amityville show.
Amityville Thanksgiving. Or what are we doing for the live show?
Oh, live show. We changed this, I think, during our thing. I wrote some notes down here. Oh, no, our live show is going to be Amityville Thanksgiving on the 19th.
Yeah. Okay. On the 19th.
So, yeah. So then, and then are we doing Amityville? Or so we're not doing Amityville in outer space?
Oh, we can do that. We can do that next week. I don't give a shit.
Or what's the other? Oh, no, it's about time.
Yeah, they're both going to suck. So
okay, let's just do It's About Time because it's in chronological order. Let's do that for once in our fucking lives. Let's actually cover them in order. We'll do that. We'll do It's About Time next week. And then we'll end our Amityville shit. I could go on forever with Amityville, but we'll end it with Amityville Thanksgiving for our Thanksgiving show on the 19th.
I like it.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. That'll be good. Maybe we'll dive into Amityville again later. There's 17 movies, you said?
No, it's like 24.
Okay, cool, man. Facebook.com/ why do I even plug Facebook? Go to IHateHorror.com. We've got a store open now. The store's up. The merch is out. The You Piece of Shit shirt is the hot item.
It's great.
Yeah. Everyone's loving it. And that is designed by our friend Tangerine. You know who I'm talking about?
I do.
It'd be nice if I could actually plug her.
Jessica,
but this isn't her. I want to use her actual graphic. This show's a fucking mess. I gotta fucking log off. Oh, and she doesn't follow herself. Anyway, I'll get her name to plug her. She's great though. What are you laughing at?
I don't know. I shouldn't have had that extra drink.
Me either. By the way, it's Jessica.Jones.Designs. Great graphic artist. She's the best. She's been a listener of the show for a while, and she made that design, and I was like, I'm fucking paying you for that shit. Give me your deets. And we worked something out. So, super glad to have that design, because the You Piece of Shit, I don't want to, we're ending the show, but because people were like, make a You Piece of Shit shirt. And I was just
saying it for years. Which
honestly, half of it wasn't even trying to look for it, because I was like, I could never make a shirt about something I said, no matter how many people like what I said. It just seems so fucking narcissistic to be like, can you draw this for me? It's something funny I say. Like, what does that mean? I hate that. But Jessica fucking just designed it on her own and kind of like did it as a post just to be like, I just did this. And I was like, that is the only way I would have ever put, because I also didn't like the idea of putting a curse word on a shirt. But
sure.
I was like, I saw it and I was like, that is how you fucking do it. That was it. I don't think there's any other design I would have been okay with for you piece of shit,
perfect.
sir.
It's perfect.
It's amazing. It's a VHS tape with the fucking label. Oh, and it says you piece of shit on it. It's fucking amazing. And it got our logo on it.
I'm liking the merch store, man. That's all. It's all looking good.
Yeah, yeah. It actually, I'm really thankful for this program because now I don't have to do it, and it's nice. And you guys get what you want. That's actually all I do it for, because so you guys can get merch whenever you want it. Like, I don't really care otherwise. But anyway, that's up. IHateHorror.com. Just click store right there. I'm working on the international store. That'll be out soon. Check out our Patreon at our patreon.com/IHateHorror. You can listen to All Documented, All True, our new show with our friend Mike, talking about the spooky, the unexplainable. I don't want to say conspiracy theories. It's not a conspiracy theory show. Because, dude, did you know, like, I don't know if you know this. To me, the idea of conspiracy theories, because I was into them, like, when I was younger, is like a fun word to me. It's not a fun word anymore. In 2022, it's not a fun word. Like, if you say that shit, like, people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it got politicized. Like, I just want to talk about aliens and ghosts.
Right, like those are the
government is hiding the fucking aliens from us. I don't give a fuck about inside jobs with false flags.
No, yeah. We're not even near that shit. We're talking alien bases in Antarctica and fucking shit coming out of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
That's the conspiracies I'm talking about. But anyway,
I heard that the new Unsolved Mysteries that they dropped is riding our dick a little bit. They heard that ADAT was talking about Lake Michigan, and then they covered it.
This shit is pissing me off. This shit is legitimately fucking starting to piss me off a little bit. That's fucking infuriating. So we check out All Documented, All True. It's great. You guys have heard it on the main feed. It's been a lot of fun to record. And if you're interested in like submitting ideas to ADAT, we have that also on the horror show page. But you can go to alldocumentedalltrue.com and that'll take you right to the submission form for ideas for Joe and Mike. Please do not send me the ideas because
we keep Sean in the dark.
The dark. That's the gimmick, guys. Got 4 emails being like, "What about this?"
And honestly, send them to Mike. Mike was born for this. He loves it.
Mike was find him on the internet. So that's that. Instagram at I Hate Horror, Facebook.com/I Hate Horror. Joe, where can they find you?
Instagram, Boognish1985.
That is a wrap, everyone. Thank you all so much. Thanks to Joe. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
I dissect movies all fucking day.
I wanna play.
I'm gonna watch what I'm not supposed to watch. A fucking zombie getting sliced and diced. The monster.